Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are back in the garage to fix the headlight on this 2014 GLK. So to start off, we're going to remove this front cowling, that way we can access the whole unit. So for this repair, you'll need a variety of different tools. You'll need a set of deep socket as well as standard size sockets for a socket wrench. Mostly though, you'll just be using the 8 and the 10 millimeter. You'll also need a socket wrench. A larger set of sockets, primarily a 17 millimeter. For our car taking the wheel off, we actually had a couple different sizes. It looked like one of them might have been retapped. We'll just have a full set there. You also want a 10 millimeter open wrench, a small flathead screwdriver, a pair of needle nose pliers, a smaller sized socket wrench with an 8 millimeter socket. We also went the route of using an air compressor with an impact driver that you can also use a torque wrench if you don't have one. It just makes the whole process a lot easier and quicker. And another impact wrench also to make things easier. One other item I recommend is a couple extensions for your socket wrench. But let's start by removing that front cowling first. It's got a small tab by my right thumb that you push towards the cabin of the car. Next, you'll take your new light, locate the places where the light screws into the frame. One of those is going to be directly to the left behind the light. Pretty easy to find. We used a 10 millimeter socket to remove it. So on this headlight, we're removing a few of the screws that hold it in place. One of the screws happens to be up against the sidewall inside where the tire is. So we're going to remove this panel here. That way we can access the rest of it. So the sidewall is attached in a couple different places by the tabs and by these 8 millimeter nuts. I'll show you a couple other places where the nuts are, as well as those tabs. And here's how you remove one of those. Take a small flathead screwdriver. You'll insert it underneath the front tab and pull it out. If you need extra leverage, you can take those needle nose pliers like you'll see me doing here and help you pull the whole piece out. You may need new versions of this if you're not able to keep the old ones intact. So because this is a tight area, we decided to remove the front wheel to give us a better access point. Underneath the car, there's a small rectangular mounting plate where you can jack the car up. Since there's not a ton of room to work around and pull this whole casing off, we're going to actually take the whole wheel off. That way we can remove this covering. Now that our wheel is removed, we can continue removing the fasteners from the front half of the sidewall. It's divided into two halves, so you can actually just remove the front half without having to remove the second half. Most of the fasteners are in the wheel well, but there is one underneath the front bumper, closest to me. Once the fasteners are removed, you can start to peel back that front half of the sidewall. I would recommend grabbing a pair of gloves, especially as you get towards that middle section of the sidewall. You'll have to reach up in there to pull it fully out. And the gloves will just protect your hands. With the front cover off, we can see the other screws, including the frame that's attached to the light. We're going to need to undo those two bolts in order to pull the whole thing out. Now that we have our wheel well cover off, we're able to see a lot better. You can actually just remove the front portion of this wheel cover, and it'll give you great access to this light fixture. But now we're going to take also this plate off. That way we have a better ability to move this light back and out. These screws are part of the opening mechanism. They will need to come out, just make sure to be aware of how they come out. Next, there's a screw that's hard to access. You may want to use the open 10mm wrench. The light sits inside of a frame that we decided to remove alongside the light. It has a couple screws to the right side of the frame and 2 above. Here are the 2 above. First, unbolt these bolts. And for the top bolts, you can add a couple extenders to your socket wrench just to make it easier to turn. Next, pull the rubber stripping back. And since our frame's pretty tight, we'll loosen the front bolts of the front bumper. Here are those front bolts. Just be sure to keep track of where they get installed and how they are installed. Before you remove the light, there is a connector connecting the light to the body of the car. It's pretty simple to remove this plug. All you need is that flathead screwdriver. You're going to take it, place it where that tab is, and push it towards the wires to unlock. Slip the connector off, take the new light, slip the connector back on, and press it with the flathead screwdriver to lock it back into place. Now before we get there, we're going to install the new light in the frame. And to make it easier to work, again, we're going to unloosen a couple more bolts. These ones are attached to the body kit of the car. One more thing to note is this spacer to the bottom right. You want to remove it from the old kit and attach it into the new kit. We wound up uninstalling the light through the wheel well, and while I don't have video of that, I do have video of it in reverse. So take the light, the new light, put it in the frame, and then you'll gently feed it through the wheel well and fit it into place of the car. Once the light is in place, snap that connector back onto the new light, step away from the car, turn the car over just so that you can turn the light on, make sure everything works, and now you can start to piece everything together, starting with that body kit, the 2 bolts. So in order to get the light back in, we actually loosened this front panel of the bumper in order to pull it out just a smidge and be able to install the light as well as this frame piece. But now we start rebolting everything together and then it should be all set. Alright, we've reinstalled everything except the wheels. Just about finished, but other than that, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video.